we are breaking those December CPI numbers right now. We saw a drop of 0.1% in the month-over-month headline Consumer Price Index. If you look at the core number month over month, you get an increase of 0.3%. So that is not representing any kind of deceleration. In fact, that is a little bit, a 10th percentage point of acceleration from the prior month in the core number. Year over year, CPI rising 6.5% on a headline basis. If you back out food and energy, you get a 5.7% gain on a year over year basis. So obviously these numbers very, very closely watched by the market here. The market probably going to key on that core number rather than a headline number, because that is the one that the Fed is paying attention to, Ines. So the read, at least for me, it looks like that these numbers are pretty much in line with what economists had been estimating.
Yeah, pretty much in line with what they had been expecting. And taking a look at this report and just looking under the hood a little bit at some of the sectors that we've been watching, the index for gasoline, by far the largest contributor to the monthly all items decrease, more than offsetting increase in shelter indexes. So gasoline, energy, we know that energy prices were down, especially in the first 2 months of December. You saw oil dipping. So that would have an impact on this read. But certainly the core number is what we've been also watching, and services is something that we've been watching. Services minus shelter is something that Jerome Powell has talked about, because those services are so linked to wages. And by that, we're talking about education. We're talking about even haircuts, hospitality. That's something that certainly the Fed's going to be watching.
Yeah, so I would say the big picture takeaway from this is this does not change the Federal Reserve's trajectory, right? It does not allow the Fed to be more dovish, to be less hawkish, to stop raising interest rates, to decrease the amount of interest rate increases at this time. And just breaking down a little bit more some of the individual components, you were just talking about services here, and I'm seeing services less energy services still up 0.5% last month. Shelter still up 0.8% last month, which was actually a reacceleration from the November increase. Transportation services up 0.2%, and medical care services up 0.1%. Both of those measures had fallen in November. So no reassuring news there, at least at first glance in those numbers.
No, and if we also take a look at food on a year-to-year basis is up at 10.4%, month over month up 0.3%. That's something that we've also been watching. And as we had mentioned, energy up 7.3% year over year, on a month over month down 4.5%. But look, Julie, as you were mentioning, the trajectory of the Fed and what the Fed is going to be doing, this is what the market's watching in this report. So if this number were to have come out a little bit cooler than expected, then the markets could expect that the Fed may ease a bit when it comes to the rate hikes. What the market has been expecting is anywhere between a 25 to 50 basis point rate hike in the next meeting, and it looks like that could be on the table.
Yeah, let's take a look at the Yahoo Finance Interactive real quickly, because I want to show on an intraday basis what we're seeing in the futures. And so we did see a climb into the numbers and now a come down here as we're not seeing any relief. Perhaps the hopes were that this number would look a little bit better. Who knows? I'm also looking at the Treasury futures here. Now, remember, when this moves inversely to prices, or yields, excuse me, price and yield move inversely. And so we saw the price starting to move off ahead of this, now coming back up a little bit. But when all is said and done, there's not a big movement, it looks like, in those bond yields.
No, and we're just taking a look at the U.S. dollar index. That's what I watch quite a bit to see where equities are going to be for that day. That's just below 103. It's ticking a little bit higher right now, as we can see right here. So this is certainly will be impacting equities today.
Yeah, but let's just quickly recap the numbers overall as well. Bang in line with economists' estimates is where we're seeing these CPI numbers month over month, a drop of 0.1%. However, the core number, excluding food and energy, still up by 0.3%.